After a very hectic and somewhat controversial A main, we head to the B main here at the Todd Ring as Luis Hernandez, who moved up to 20th place after Fibrosis' 32nd time penalty. He is on pole, and this will be interesting. If we thought the first race was chaotic when you mismatched the field with slower and faster cars, it's probably only going to get worse. But Hernandez trying to see if he can clear for Skavnicki for the lead somehow, and yeah, not happening. Skavnicki to the lead, and William Duncan trying to clear for second place as well. Dylan Young in fourth place, trying to get a good run here. Matthew Fuller, another Patriots Trophy car. Trouble already as Lamas, Michaels, Seth Cole, and Kasten Rosengar makes major contact into the first corner. That's Charles Sanford, but ends up shoving her off the track. And Satsuki will find the access road and should be able to merge back onto the track without too much harm, but she's going to fall outside of the top 30. Oh, more trouble. Sean Galligan into the quarter panel to 55, sends his teammate Fitzworth spinning into Collard, into Turner, into Fibrosis, into the entrance of the tunnel. And more contact being made. Tross, Sebastian Torres with problems. Charles Jackson looks like he got some contact as well, as a very chaotic opening lap. Wouldn't really expect anything less. Skavnicki does hold the lead as he prepares to lead the first lap of the race. And Luis Hernandez, the Mexican driver running for Patriots Trophy this year, holds second. But this is where the horsepower advantage of Duncan is going to prevail. Luis Hernandez with Waters on the on the front banner these cars have. Sometimes we see drivers put their name on it, like with Duncan. Sometimes we see manufacturer names on it. But some of these Patriots Trophy teams, they've actually decided to put their crew chief on the driver banner. That is Doug Waters, who is crew chief in the one car. So they put his name on the banner. As Hernandez, horsepower difference making a big difference here, as Dylan Young and Duncan were both able to go by, and Hernandez trying to fight back. Yeah, oh, Petrov around! The second place finisher from the previous round. He is around. How many times can I say round? Petrov pushing the 96 of Bobby Jones, gets really squirrely and doesn't see the 44 of Sean Galligan stick in the nose, and turns and goes slightly around. Doesn't actually spin, but goes off into the grass a little bit. And that's going to hurt Petrov. We'll see if he can rebound. He's come from last to basically second place before, and Block and Vargas, they not sure where to go, and they're going to fly off into the grass. 3 wide here as Vincent Allen, James Shelley, and Charles Sanford are having a heck of a time trying to fight through. They're trying to enter the top 5. Matthew Fuller in 5th place. Alan Cavanero looks like he was about to go off, but kept it going. Sanford looking for 5th. Meanwhile, Allen shoving the 43 of Shelley through the tunnel. And, ooh, Allen's going to give a big shove to the 43 like he did to Satsuki. And he's going to attempt to make the pass here. One of the big news this weekend was John Cittadino being parked for today's B main. And in the 77 today is Kyle Nova, the Division II driver and the series veteran, 2-year series veteran. Earlier this week, Kyle Nova got a 6th place in the Division II round at Arkansas, driving for the Finguy Saitomi Motorsports team, who he's driving full-time for the Division II title. It was kind of an interesting story. Kyle Nova was pretty much at his house preparing to watch the weekend. He watched the A main, and late into last night, he got the call from Ford and Young Motorsports asking him to get a flight. They sent him a plane. They told him, you need to get to Brazil immediately. We need you to come in and drive our car. As what happened with Cittadino forced the series to park Cittadino for the rest of the weekend and his spotter. But because of the charter system, they could not park the 77 entirely. So they called Nova. He arrived here roughly 2 hours before the race started. And he has no practice time whatsoever, so he's cold turkey today. And he's doing okay so far. I think his main goal is just to get the car home with minimal damage. Or no damage if possible. Nova is a 2-year veteran. He drove for Young Motorsports in his rookie year. Kind of struggled. Didn't qualify for the Race of Legends. Drove for the Super Racing Team last year. Didn't exactly set the world on fire. His most notable thing was getting a pole at Texas. It's been a tough first couple of years for Mr. Nova, but he has an opportunity here to showcase his talent. William Duncan now trying to battle John Skavnicki for the lead here. Duncan gets a great run into the first turn. And wow, Duncan was 4 car lengths back in one straightaway, made it all up, and is now going to clear Skavnicki for the lead. His teammate Paul Athenos won the A-main. And now Subaru looking for the sweep. Duncan was having an alright run the A-main until he got shoved off the track by Sean Galligan. So he is trying to redeem himself here. He had a good qualifying position. And he is now to the lead. And now we wonder, can Skavnicki keep up with him? If Duncan was able to just pull away like that on the straightaway and draft past him, how can Skavnicki continue to contend? But he's keeping up on the road course portion, it looks like. Matthew Fuller trying to hold off Vincent Allen and Charles Sanford, 2 very quick cars, for 4th place, as Luis Hernandez is blocking everybody, trying to hold the positions he can for his Patriots Trophy efforts. Fuller has had a good start to his Patriots Trophy, as has Charles Sanford. And this is the second to last round for them until they will try to fight for the Patriots Trophy title later in the year. Sanford and Fuller are the top 2 in their point standings, in the Patriots Trophy points, so if they keep up the run they're having right now, that should stay the same. Hernandez in a world of trouble here as Ian Dutta wants to go 3 wide. He's going to force the 1 car off the track to make it happen. And might have just done everybody in the top 20 a favor, but Hernandez goes off. Sadly, I don't think he's going to score points unless something else happens, but the Brazilian hometown driver Dutta trying to continue what has been a very solid weekend for this Honda team. A couple of laps later, Vincent Allen gets a great run off the corner, looking for 3rd place on Dylan Young in the number 2 car. Skavnicki continues to battle with William Duncan for the lead, but here comes Allen. He makes the pass, and he moves to the podium position for now. Yuji Max, who got involved in that very terrible crash in the A-main, he was okay. Fortunately, when he plowed into the back of Cittadino, which wasn't really his fault, by the way, people were worried he got injured. However, the driver of the 92 was fine. He climbed out from his upside-down car. But in fact, everybody in that wreck was okay. No injuries whatsoever. But that was a very unfortunate wreck for a lot of these guys. And DeMax is not off the pace. He had to come down pit road a few laps ago to fix a tire that was going down. So DeMax is going to have to pit one more time, but it's going to have to be a miracle for him to score points today, but crazier things have happened. Satsuki Akashura, Jabri, and Bobby Jones going to go 3 wide for 12th place, and Jones hits the 74 into Satsuki, who is about to go off the track, and they're both going to go into the guardrail. Yikes. Jabri and Satsuki, they get their cars fired again, but that's going to hurt them a good chunk. Jabri had a good finish in that A-main, and a good race too. Trouble! Sean Galligan hard into the wall, right in front of the field. Oh no, this is right in the top 10. Oh no, that's a terrible wreck. Galligan into the pack. Into Dutta, Cavanero. James Shelley, he's upside down. He's flipping terribly down the back straightaway. Alan Cavanero, Michael Cavanero, several cars involved. Charles Sanford, Josh Travel. That is an absolutely terrible wreck right before the first road course corner. An absolutely horrific accident as Sean Angel gets into the back of the 43. Got him loose and sends him in. This is where it just gets ugly. Oh my goodness. Right into a very large pack of cars. And Josh Travel, who I don't think he had much place to go. There was so much smoke. He just slams into Shelley. And everybody has to make evasive actions to try to avoid. Here's another look at this 10 plus car crash as Galligan. That was a bad lick into the wall. And the rest of that pack, I mean, they had nowhere to go. There was just nothing that was going to stop that. And that was not Charles Sanford, by the way. That was Gene Sanford in the 24. My apologies, but oh my goodness. Sean Galligan took some pretty bad hits. I mean, that's the first one, but you're getting hit at 180 miles per hour roughly and head on, and yikes. Before that wreck was about to occur, Vincent Allen had just passed William Duncan for the lead here, and you're going to see the wreck in the background here in a moment. Allen did get past Duncan. He had a really good run through forward, but you can see the wreck behind. And I don't think these guys knew what happened at all. Yeah, that's just rough. Vincent Allen does get the lead from Duncan quite easily. That zero car, he has been very quick since the start and has slowly moved his way from just on the outskirts of the top 10. He goes up to first place and goes in front of Duncan and Skavnicki, who had been battling very hard for the lead for the past couple of laps. Duncan continuing to try to battle with Vincent Allen as he was able to get the draft to get back up to that zero car. And Duncan gets a big run through this carousel trying to get to the zero car. This is a very familiar sight, honestly. In the last race, it was Paul Athanos and Vladimir Petrov fighting for the lead. Now it's their teammates, Allen and Duncan, with Skavnicki hanging in tow in third. Paul Athanos finally gets to pit lane. It took her a while. It's a long track. She had to basically do a whole lap with a blown engine. When you come to these types of courses with these high bank speedway, when you come to these high bank super speedways, you always can expect these types of big wrecks. It's why they get very heavily criticized by the teams, drivers, and some fans as well, despite the racing they produce. So, been a bad weekend for wrecks, that's for sure. We're still waiting for word on some drivers' conditions, but from what we are being told, most people are A-okay, so that is a good sign. Duncan, a lap later, gets another big run on Vincent Allen for the lead here. I think what happened was Allen, I think, might have used up his tires trying to fight to get to these guys, and now it's starting to even out a tiny bit, as Skavnicki now wants to go past Duncan. And this three-way fight for the lead continues on as we're about to come to pit stops. We saw what happened. Thanos waited a long while to pit. She pitted with roughly 3 laps to go. Well, not actually 4 laps to go, while Petrov had pitted 2 laps prior. And that worked out in Thanos' favor, I believe, because she was able to hold Petrov off with the slightly fresher tires. With these long laps, with how long this track is and with the few amount of laps left, essentially going an extra lap here is basically going an extra 3 laps on tires. So we're going to be wondering here if Duncan will copy the same strategy Thanos used, or will Alan learn from his teammates' past mistake to try and keep the lead this time. No, Duncan's actually not going to copy his teammate's strategy. He's going to come down to pit road. Just past the halfway point here, so Duncan's going to pit. He's going to do the opposite of what his teammate did and pit early. And Alan will be the one to stay out an extra few laps, it looks like. Here comes Alan and Skavnicki. They're going to pit on the same exact lap that Paula Thanos pitted on the last main, so we're going to see how this works out. Basically a flip-flop of strategies between AFRT and Subaru. We'll see how it works out. Alan comes off pit road. And where is Duncan? I don't see him yet. Alan does move into the lead. And wow, Duncan falls to third. Skavnicki, he's going to emerge in front of Duncan as well. But however, remember how quickly Petrov caught Thanos? That might happen again here. But then again, Skavnicki is going to be in front of Duncan, which might help him out a tiny bit. Duncan with the warmer tires is going to dispose of Skavnicki like he's a lapped car. And now he's going to have to set his sights towards Alan. And we're going to see whether or not Duncan made the right call here. Here comes William Duncan in the Subaru. He is making headlines toward the Zero car, just like Petrov did with Thanos. Although, in this situation, Thanos was the one that was able to hold Petrov off. They actually flip-flop positioned several times in those last couple of laps, but we'll see what happened here. Duncan gets a great run into the first corner, as those warm tires giving him a very big corner grip advantage here. Duncan probably going to be patient here. I think he knows he's quicker than Alan. I don't think he wants to make the move too early. Duncan gives a bump to Alan, trying to get him loose and out of the way. Forget about what I said about patience here. Duncan just wants to go. Duncan all over the back bumper, going to turn him at this rate as he gets to the quarter panel, but here comes Alan with the advantage here. We saw this last time. Petrov was able to pull away from Thanos on straightaways. AFRT just has really good straightaway speed, while the Subarus are just really good on the road course parts. 2 laps to go here. William Duncan trying to get past Vincent Allen. He's been patient for the last lap and a half here. And trying to find a hole here as he gets into the back of Allen, and they're off the track. Allen hooks the Zero car of Allen, and he knocks him into the wall, and Duncan's off the track trying to rebound. Can he get there in time? Into the tunnel turner, into the tunnel turn. Here comes Jonathan Skavnicki in the 3 car. Oh my word, Allen is around off the track. He is back on. He's back on. Oh boy. They went into that blind turn, which has caused a couple of crashes this weekend, and it looked like Alan just got hooked by William Duncan, and yeah, that's going to need a couple of replays here with only 2 laps to go. Another look here. Duncan just had a really good run through this corner. He saw a small hole. He went for it, but just hooks the Zero car into the guardrail, driver first, but luckily that wasn't too much damage. Allen was actually able to get the car back on the track. He's actually in 8th place, so that could have been worse. But the question is, though, are the stewards going to penalize Duncan for that? because it did look like from that advantage point that Duncan just hooked him and spun him. John Fabrosis was given a 30-second penalty for just driving Collard off the track. Replay from William Duncan. Ooh, actually, from that angle, it kind of looks like Allen might have actually blocked him. Duncan might actually not be at fault here. Replay from the back of Vincent Allen's 0 car. Ooh. It kind of did look like Allen might have turned right into him. Replay from our helicopter camera. This should give us a pretty solid view here. Now, we're going to see if Allen does react to Duncan's move. That could be labeled a block. You can see Duncan goes for a hole, but you can see Allen does turn right. That's definitely going to be a sketchy one. That's going to... oh boy, more controversy, but that one's going to be a debatable one, I think. It looked like it might have been Bolt's fault. Duncan might have pushed too hard, and Allen might have just thrown a block that wasn't needed, but it's going to be very interesting here. William Duncan, despite what's happening, despite the controversy, is going to be all by himself as he takes the white flag here in Brazil. And this will definitely be a very controversial finish that I think is going to be very much debated for a very long time, as Duncan, all by himself, no threats, no lap cars to deal with. John Skavnicki in second place, trying to hold off Sean Angel and Charles Sanford. How about this though? Kyle Nova has avoided every wreck today, and he's in 11th place right now, doing a pretty fantastic job in the 77 car. Started dead last, got into the top 10 briefly. Is Bobby Jones? No, Bobby, don't do it, Bobby. Aw, come on. Kyle Nova was running in 11th place, and Jones just dumped him. Well, then again, Nova, I'm being told Nova has no tires. Apparently he took no tires in that last stop, and he guess he's slow. But regardless, Bobby Jones just hooked the 77 around. And that might get a penalty. But Nova's still in the top 20, though. He's in 16th right now, we're being told. Another driver who has survived today is Allie Nelson, this 28 car. She's going to finish in the top 20 if she stays where she's at. So, good run for Nelson in her return to the series. The battle for second and third is on as Charles Sanford is going to push Sean Angel forward into second place. And Sanford now looking for third from Jonathan Skavnicki. And whoa boy. Now this is an interesting situation because Duncan's situation is questionable. So this battle for second actually might be a slight chance of a battle for the win. And I think these three realize that. That's why they're racing each other so hard. I don't think Duncan should get a penalty, but these three, they're racing just in case he gets that 30-second time penalty, or even worse. So Sean Angel, though, in second place. I think he's going to keep that. Meanwhile, though, William Duncan in the 87. Pending this win stands, it's going to be a monumental win for the Subaru Racing Team. Coming off the final corner, William Duncan will score his second win of 2017 here in Brazil at the Tottering. Subaru Racing Team, if this stands, for the first time ever, is going to sweep a weekend in the DuPont World Series of Racing. As Duncan scores the second win of the weekend, Thanos won the first, and Duncan wins the second. Probably. How about the Subaru Racing team, man? 2 years ago, they were the worst team on the grid. Last year, we saw a fantastic amount of improvement out of that team. We saw Novakovsky and Kyle Nova have some good runs for that team. We saw progress. That's what this team has just been about the last few years. Progress. They had a rough 2014. 2015 was even worse. 2016, we saw some great improvements. And now this year, they have been a top-tier team. And it has shown here this weekend and in the first quarter of this year. So regardless if this win stands or not, Subaru's got nothing to be ashamed about. What a fantastic weekend for them. And we'll see if this win for William Duncan stands.